Cities often claim they want sustainability, smart growth, and stability. But if you watch what they do and not what they say, you'll notice something strange. They behave as if growth is mandatory, not desirable, not helpful, but required. I'm Parker, and on today's episode of The Government is the Problem, we're looking at the role schools play in the endless sprawl present in many cities today. Before I get into the meat of this video, I want to clarify the scope of the topic. It's not about teachers, it's not about kids, it's not even about education. It's about what happens when education becomes a government run, geographically fixed, nonprofit system inside a city budget. Because once that happens, growth stops being a choice. So, how is the government a problem today? Let's start with the city budget. In most cities, schools are the largest single line item. Not only that, they're a legally guaranteed service and they're tied directly to the population. Because of that, they're politically untouchable. Unlike roads or parks, schools can't be paused. They can't be rationed, they can't be priced by usage, and they cannot be allowed to fail. Every child must be served, immediately and locally. That turns schools into a capacity locked obligation, not a flexible service. To compound this problem, public school systems are nonprofit in structure. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but it plays an outsized role in creating friction. In a profit system, efficiency creates surplus and waste threatens survival. While in a nonprofit system, all revenue must be spent, as a cash surplus signals overfunding. It doesn't stop there. At the end of every fiscal year, in many nonprofit finance departments, including schools, it becomes a mad dash to spend all the money. When the money is spent and there's no budget left over, it often becomes justification for more funds, for more staff, more programs, more administration, all of which represent permanent costs. And this repeats year after year. Here's where it often spirals. When enrollment rises, schools reach capacity, which means new buildings are required and land must be purchased. All of this needs bond issuance, but bonds don't pay for themselves. They assume more future taxpayers, more housing, and more development. Growth isn't the goal, but it is required for the funding mechanism. And when enrollment stabilizes or falls, costs don't fall with it. Buildings remain, staff remains, and the debt remains. At that point, cities face a binary choice: grow or cut elsewhere and still borrow. The pressure intensifies when we add labor to the mix because school labor isn't flexible. Teachers are public sector employees, and most are unionized. That means headcount doesn't contract easily. Pay moves ever upward, and benefits and pensions persist for decades. A functioning union negotiates for more. To be clear, this isn't corruption, it's the job. But in a government monopoly with guaranteed demand, there's no counterweight strong enough to say no. Labor becomes a permanent future liability, not an adjustable cost. So even modest enrollment triggers expansion, and modest decline changes nothing. So how does this all lead to urban sprawl, or at least contribute to it? New schools require large parcels of land, stable attendance boundaries, and low political friction. That rarely points inward. It points outward. Greenfield development is easier than retrofitting density, sprawl is cheaper than reconfiguration, and expansion is safer than contraction. Cities don't sprawl because planners are stupid. They sprawl because the math forces their hand. This is why cities say they need growth even when it degrades the quality of life. It's not greed, it's not ideology, and it's not incompetence. It's a service obligation paired with bad incentives, and once education becomes a government guaranteed, nonprofit, and geographically fixed service, cities lose the ability to stop growing. And at that point, infinite growth isn't a theory, it's survival. This is Anvil Hammer Forge. Let's get to work.